All right, and we're
Hey,
live. How
good
you doing?
evening. It's just great. We've had again another busy week and weekend, and
Yeah.
here it is Tuesday, and it feels like it's getting near the end of the week
Honestly,
already.
it feels
But
like Friday to me.
I know it just feels
It's
like we've
like,
already had a week, and it's Tuesday night. Um, but we did a lot. I'm going to steal from Dickens.
mhm,
Uh, Ghosts of Christmas Past. We're going to talk about
yeah,
what's passed in the last week or two. Christmas
hmm
present, what's going on.
yep.
It's not the gifts we'll get, it's the present. And then future, what's going to go on in the next 3 or 4 weeks, getting ready for
Yeah, so
Christmas.
much
So there's
stuff.
lots of things going on in our community, and some great community stuff too.
hmm
But let's not forget the food bank. The Caring Cupboard does such great work, and
Yeah.
this time of year specifically more.
hmm
Christmas Care is out there now, still signing people up for Christmas hampers. And
Yep.
if you haven't given or volunteered or done whatever you might
hmm
do with Christmas Care, please go do it. And let's not forget great agencies like the YWCA and what they do
Yeah.
with women's housing, the Inn, and what they do with emergency sheltering.
hmm
Sheltering. So we're going to get to Giving Tuesday next week, right? So we'll
Yeah.
talk some more about where you should send some cash if you've got some to give. But lots
hmm
going on in this world that we need to talk about that will all make for better Christmases. But boy, we had a Santa Claus parade that was
Yeah.
about as long as it could be. The last, I don't know, decade, I've judged Santa Claus parades,
hmm
the floats for the most part. And, I got there at 4:30, and, that's used, and then, Karen and Rob show up, right after, and we,
hmm
we have to at least go by all of the floats, all of the other, things that are going on at the parade at least once. So it's fair that we've seen them all.
hmm
We can't go too early because it has to get dark enough so that when they turn on their lights, or the people can actually show us what their float looks like lit.
Right.
And so, but then we were running to
Oh
get
yeah.
it finished on time in order to talk about best, all of the different bests in the floats
hmm
before 6 o'clock. So it was great. I wanted to thank the fire department. The fire department lent Councillor Herbert and myself the Kubota
hmm
that they have. This was a kind of a 4-wheel drive thing that we got last year from Firehouse Subs, as they continue to outfit fire departments
Yeah.
across the world through donations. And this is something they gave to the city of St. Thomas so that we could handle our trails better.
hmm
And Jim and I were warned, look, you get to use this tonight, but if we get an incident where a truck can't go, we're just going to come to you and say, get out. We said, okay, well,
I thought they were going to warn you not to run over anybody.
well, that too, but I
No.
thought for sure Councillor Herbert might have a couple times.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, I'm glad he didn't.
so thank you to the St. Thomas Fire Service and lending us a great way to see a parade.
hmm
It's got flashing lights. It's outfitted like an emergency vehicle, and then you go to hit the horn, and it goes meep 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 meep. Wasn't too manly on the horn part,
Yeah.
but we did okay on the rest. Um, as long a parade, and we're at the front of it, right?
Yeah.
So we can't really tell. We see it staged, but you can't. We just kept talking to different optimists who told us this was the biggest parade, the most floats, the
Well,
most.
those guys are
bands.
pretty optimistic.
They are incredibly good at what they do, and we thank the optimists for putting on the Santa Claus parade. I saw so many elephants because this is Christmas circus was the theme.
I was wondering what was going on with
Right?
that.
And so
Yeah.
there was clowns, and there was animals in cages,
Mhm.
and there was a whole lot of really unique circus level stuff.
Ah.
So we said, that's a great theme. Perfect. Couldn't do better. So please, folks, if you're watching tonight, tell your friends right now that you are watching, so they can also come on and watch, or put away in their notes that they can watch it tomorrow or whenever is next. But Grayden and I have been doing really quite well at answering all the questions and,
Yep.
and letting it be. As you see behind me, the elephant in the room is there wearing his Joe Thornton Olympic jersey. Now, why is that, you might say?
Why is that?
Well, in the city of San Jose, the San Jose Sharks retired Joe Thornton's jersey on Saturday night. So St. Thomas also proclaimed it Joe Thornton Day. And we did a bit of a proclamation, and we used the elephant and Joe Thornton's jersey, Olympic jersey, to I took down off a wall, and now it's probably going to stay in the office to do a proclamation here. The NHL.com talked about our proclamation and Jumbo Joe Thornton, and what a class act Joe was on Saturday night too. If you got to pick up any of it, so make us proud, Joe. Even as your uniform, your sweater is retired, you make us proud. So way to go. What else have we got going on?
Well, we had the Golden Hammers that just happened as well on Thursday.
Our building, our builders basically, and renovators, builders and renovators, and boy, a lot of our, we have some of the best builders in the world here.
They're internationally recognized, absolutely.
Right, and lots of fun was had by all. The Golden Hammer. I keep thinking I could come up with a drink called the Golden Hammer, and it could be the
yes. There are a lot of
variations that we could do. Right?
Yeah.
But it went well. I was not able to attend, and I know you filmed it. But then I got to do the Santa Claus parade, and you couldn't because your family, none of you have been feeling well. So
no, that was about at the end of a 3-month stretch of just go almost every day for me, and then on Friday, my body was like, you're done. It was like basic function only. And it just kind of pushed through till about Monday.
Well, it's been a downtime for us since Stephanie was in the hospital, and we're still coming out of it. But it seems as busy as it can be. This was a week we kind of had set aside to just get away.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a council meeting this week. But we do have the interviews for the city manager on Wednesday night. The finals of the candidates. So I thought, well, I better stay home. I better not try and get away and come back. And now the days are filling up like you wouldn't believe.
I believe it.
I started this morning with nothing on tomorrow except preparing for those interviews on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And it's pretty full now. So I'm here anyway. Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, I'll go visit your shop. I'll do whatever the different things. So it's been great.
I can only imagine the amount of emails you get to do all the different things.
We've been doing a couple of different interviews talking about St. Thomas's growth and different things. I did 2 of those last week also, and lots going on. So I'm willing to answer any of you questions you have tonight. If you haven't been to the Elgin Railway Museum yet to see the Christmas tree spectacular, you've got a few more weekends yet to do that. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is open.
We're going to go in on
300
Friday.
Beautiful decorated trees.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to hear people who have watched it on Mayor's Update and have gone and said, and now I'm taking my neighbors because they didn't believe me when I told them how great it was.
Incredible.
And so more people are going.
Whole winter wonderland.
Yep. What else is happening this weekend?
The housing starts. We've doubled the housing starts.
Well, we have some pretty good numbers in a bad time around us. Last week, the kind of national numbers came out as to who's meeting their housing targets, and single family homes have been down this year, mostly because of where interest rates were, and they're starting to come back. But we're going to have probably a little better year than we did last year, 15 or 20% better than last year. And when everybody around us is doing 25% less, I take that as a pretty good success. We want to get to where we're leading the pack in housing creation, and we seem to be doing it certainly in market rent apartments. So we need to continue to do that, and that's why we should recognize those with the Golden Hammer Awards. Those are our builders who do this work and make sure it happens.
Yep.
And I'll always thank the people downstairs here, we're at City Hall, in our planning department that make us able to get those permits out and get the buildings built.
Yeah. Bradley Cliff has a question. He says, has Integris ever looked at building a generating station? There is not an IESO station within 100 kilometers of here. They can probably generate power cheaper than they buy it. Well, that's an interesting concept, and we've done that before.
We have, and we're about to do it again. We have an independent electrical supply thing based on battery storage, so that it will charge itself overnight and dump back into the system. Integris at the moment is not in the generating business and is more in the transmission and household use piece. From here through to Essex in southern Ontario. And so I'll bring it up to Mr. Hogan and say, is this anything that you could do? But what type of electricity generation are you talking about? most of our generation of electricity in Ontario is nuclear. And I know we've been working on small nuclear plants, but that's going to be a provincial piece, not a local utility piece. And hydroelectric, where we use a dammed up river or something to generate electricity. There's still a bit in Ontario of natural gas generating electricity. I know almost nobody wants us to be using fossil fuels to generate electricity. So if you've got a great way to generate electricity, let me know so I can share that.
Another question in from Bradley. Has the city looked at getting the blue-colored street lights that are being popular in other municipalities? I believe the coloring makes it difficult for people to inject needles on the street. I haven't heard about that.
I haven't heard anything about it. So if you got something to send me, let me see it. We'll certainly, as we look, I think we went through a period of time in St. Thomas, sometime shortly before I became mayor, switching out most of our lights to whatever.
They're better for the birds and at nighttime,
well,
the sky.
And the low usage, low electrical use lighting has gone in, but it was still not cheap to do. I mean, it still takes 10 years to get a return on investment, even though you're using less electricity when you have to change this many lights. So let's open to every idea you've got. You want to send it straight through to customer service, or you want to send it to me and let me share it with Integris, I can do so. We're just shareholders in Integris, so we'll have a conversation.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to see as cities are like transitioning from one thing to another, like Talbot, because it's so long, you can never get it all done in one sweep.
No.
So it kind of, you can see the different generations of design and infrastructure.
How this poll looked. But you're right. You talked a little bit about even from an environmental point of view, we're trying to avoid light pollution also in everything we do. So we'll continue to work on these things. And obviously from a straight climate point of view, the less electricity we can use, the better off we'll be. It's the same as we're finding different ways to naturalize some of our parks so that we're using way less water, less fertilizer, and different things that are really better for the environment also.
Speaking of the environment, coming up on the Beehive, which will be released tomorrow, we have Meredith Woodhouse, and she's talking about, she's one of the engineers over there at Yarmouth Yards, and she's talking about the bat boxes and how they have different sensors in the bat boxes that are triggered every single hour.
Right. When somebody, when a bat uses the box, and I understand there's even some other species that are also using some of the bat boxes. These are the great things we can do in great open spaces like we've had to do at Yarmouth Yards.
And it's going to help across Ontario because they're going to be able to go in and be like, okay, we can help with our bat populations, like the endangered populations, and put in these boxes. And through this study that's happening at Yarmouth Yards, they're going to see which bat boxes and which orientation work the best. It's fantastic. Anyway, all the information next week released on the Beehive.
On the Beehive, so keep posted on that too. Things coming up this weekend. There's a dance at the Senior Center, November 30th, 6 to 10.
Excellent.
Check with the Senior Center on it. To Winter Market, of course, Saturday mornings. Get your shopping done.
Yeah, Santa was there this past Saturday.
Yeah.
Always fantastic.
Illuminate, which is kind of a great lighting situation again.
At Faith?
At Faith Church on Fairview is this Sunday. And you may need to reach out to their website at Faith Church to find the times or the hours for that.
They've got a good Instagram. If you have Instagram, go on the Instagram page. It has all the details on there.
All right. I already mentioned the city manager interviews. We're now down to a select few, and we hope we can hire one out of.
How many applications have you had so far?
Over 80.
Over 80 applications.
And we've whittled that down, done first interviews and second interviews are in private, being done this week. We talked about Joe Thornton. How about Ron McNeil and Highbury? We're now in the point where most of the curbing for the roundabout at Ron McNeil and Highbury has been poured. So starting on December 2nd, which is Monday, you will not be able to pass through the intersection in any direction.
Whoa.
Right? Now, that's going to be a hardship. I get that.
It's already difficult because you can't go down Highbury to the south.
Some way, right? But from December 2nd to December 13th, that intersection will be closed to finish a very major piece of construction. And then after the 13th, you'll have probably full access to all of Highbury from Ron McNeil all the way through to the expressway, which has been worked on quite well. and some of that paving and
Mhm.
such has been happening this week.
Yeah.
Right, and they'll finish the roundabout at Ron McNeil and Highbury. So please tell your friends. I've been sharing that and sharing that and sharing that on social media. The city has been too. Please, the detour way forward is all the way over to 73 up Belmont Road
Mhm.
and back around, because Highbury there really isn't, or of course
No.
Wellington, right?
And if you're like me, you're not going to think about it. You'll end up there and be like, "Uh-oh, you got to turn
go
around."
Where am I
like,
going now? Right?
Yeah.
Yes, and it's a long way over to Wellington or a long way over to Belmont.
Yeah.
So,
and it's hard to get turned around when there's so much traffic on the road right behind you.
Think about it. You'll notice you're getting into some traffic, and that'll remind you, oh no, I've gone the wrong way.
What are those dates again that it's closed?
December 2nd of December, so Monday.
Yeah.
Till the 13th, which is a Friday.
Okay.
So for 2 business weeks and the weekend in between.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
And so Friday the 13th, I didn't know we had another Friday the 13th this year, but December the 13th is a Friday the 13th.
Oh.
Probably see a few less motorcycles heading to Dover, but
right.
But it still happens.
Do the motorcycles go on that day too?
Any Friday the 13th, it's my understanding. So
really,
we have to be careful. Of course, if it's snowing and slippery, that's not a good thing to do. And so let's watch for that.
Yeah.
Wait, we have the Wind Ensemble happening at Knox Church, December 7th. Tickets are only $10 each, December 7th at 2 p.m. So please, we've got tickets are at the door or in advance from any band member, and they're free for elementary students. So kids who would be interested in seeing the Wind Ensemble, and these are good players.
Oh
yeah, this is a good thing to see. So please get out there. Also coming up on December 3rd, the Tuesday night, which is next time we do Mayor's Update, are the 100 People Who Care.
Yes.
Well, and it's well over 100.
Yes.
I know the goal was to get to 300, so there's still time. There's a whole week for you to, if you've not put your $100 in, to make this. We've picked 4 great organizations, right? And they'll vie for they'll sell their wares if they will, and one of them will be picked to receive a very large check, and the others will get slightly smaller checks that night. So please, it's another way you can help our community. And if you're on Facebook, they're doing once a week the organizations they've chosen to be possibly rewarded. So please go on and take a look.
And it's going to be an amazing event. So put your donations in. They're trying to get to 300 donations. So that
would be best. If we had 300, we can do a big check to one organization and still pretty big checks to the others. So to really help out a lot of people in our community. Hey, look at still waiting for lots more questions. If there's any coming in, please let me know. Oh, we got one from Dale there.
Dale Cummings is saying, yes, bikers still go no matter the weather, but most drive cars or trucks instead of bikes. Some of the bikes
that would make sense, right? Because of I know we're talking about perhaps seeing some snow flurries and snowflakes this week. So as of December 1st, of course, you can no longer park on city streets overnight. And so you will need to find another place to park in your driveway, we hope, because the city streets belong to the city and the driveways belong to you. So hopefully you're parking in your own driveway so that we can plow streets at night if we have to.
And Snow Angels, the program?
Still looking for. It's been tougher to get people to sign up because we haven't seen snow yet this year. But we need a few other people who can help in their neighborhoods so that we can assign you 1 or 2 people that you can take care of that can't get out of their houses easier, certainly can't shovel snow sidewalks or driveways anymore. And you can be a snow angel, and we'll assign you where to go and when to go. It's not in the middle of a snowstorm. We're not asking you to do it immediately. We're asking you the next day or 2 after a snowstorm. So go help some people who are a little shut in be able to get out of their driveway. So
very good.
You can be a snow angel here in St. Thomas.
Yep. And we've got a shout out for Janice Harris. She runs the flower farm over at Harris Flower Farm.
And pasteurized pork.
Yes. Fantastic pork as well.
Yes.
So she's been elected the vice president of the Association of Specialty Cut Flower Growers.
Wow.
Yeah. So Shout out and
Way to
congratulations.
go.
Well done.
I mean, and they are beautiful flowers. I mean, if you've not bought flowers from Harris Flowers at the market, what are you doing? How could you walk by that? We all have somebody we have to impress, wife. Right. So great job. Thank you. And thank you for being, representative. Again, sometimes you helping in organizations that are province-wide or countrywide really help put our city on the map too. So thank you very, very much.
Got a question in from Beth Douglas. She says, met some new residents of our great city. They didn't know anything about our tremendous library. Big shout out to St. Thomas Public Library.
Yeah.
Their winter schedule, The Staple, is out for December, January, February, and available at the main desk.
Great. They have a great newsletter, as you said, called The Staple. I don't get over there enough, considering I park within 50 feet of the library every day almost here at City Hall. But we get there to do story time with the kids or the Stuffy Parade. The Stuffy the Elephant and I go over there for that. And but our library is, you're right, Beth, second to none. They do a great job of events also, not just, hey, here's some books, but there is books. And there's lots of books. So thank you for giving me a chance to speak highly of our library.
And Bradley was talking, he says, about the natural gas cogeneration, which is something he says the province is investing in. If Integris would consider it, I can send info along.
Well, I'm not against you sending information along, but I think that Integris would know that there is natural gas generation. But it's my understanding the province is trying to shrink some of that, not doing as much of it as they once did. So, but our issue is if you can generate closer to the need, and that's where we are, then that would really help. So whether it's wind or solar or nuclear or whatever it could be, transmission lines still continue to be one of the biggest issues. And in talking with Integris about those issues too, they're as concerned as we are, being able to keep great jobs right next door to us by providing enough electricity.
And the budget, you guys have you started on the budget now?
To December 2nd, so next Monday night, we will receive our budget books. Almost no deliberation will take place on Monday night. We will deliberate about budget on the 9th, the following Monday, the second meeting of December.
Very good.
We feel pretty comfortable in St. Thomas. It may not yet be as one of our lowest budgets, but it will be a very good growth budget. St. Thomas continues to grow. We continue to meet many new people who've chosen St. Thomas as a place to live. And we're looking at still being much less than most of the cities around us, particularly I forget the name of the town just north of us.
Oh, it used to be called North St. Thomas, didn't it?
They're still deliberating with theirs somewhere in the 7.5% range. I can pretty much promise you St. Thomas won't be there.
That's going to be painful.
Well, we've all got to have years like that, and as we grow, we have to have some more increase to some of the services. Obviously, fire and police are the ones you always think about as you grow. What will we need to keep people safe in St. Thomas? And as we've added things like the special constables downtown, or I mentioned the Kubota and other things that we have to do in St. Thomas. From a fire point of view, these are all expenses. But even our housing people, we talked over the last couple of weeks about the building on Flora Street that we've taken over as a seniors affordable housing, and each of these things cost us money, and so we'll sharpen our pencil and we'll be as fiscally responsible as we possibly can. We're pretty proud of what we've been able to do over the last 6 years on budget here in St. Thomas, so we will keep doing it.
And infrastructure building and parks and rec. Cities never look more beautiful, in my opinion.
Well, I keep saying the same thing, and I do a lot of just on my way to work or way home from City Hall, I try to take a different route and go as far as I can different ways, or go look at Pinafore Park or go look at some of our other parks. We are just really in great shape right now. And of course, we're about to get into that season of where I describe what a millisecond is.
Yes.
That's the amount of time it takes after the first snowflake hits the ground before somebody messages the mayor and says, "Where's the snowplow?" We will post all the time, and our website will always have what streets are primary streets. If you have transit and stuff, they're the first ones we get to. Then the secondary roads, then the third level of roads, and sidewalks start to fall in then, about then too. We're out doing sidewalks and trails. But there are some that can be in a good snowfall situation 4 days before we get to them. It's exactly how it works. And so we've been really lucky the last couple of years that we've had less snow. So we've been able to, when we have it, it's a 1 day event. But our biggest trouble comes when it's a 3 or 4 day snowfall event. And we have to start giving people time off out of their snow plows to go home and rest up. And we don't always have another full crew to put on, but we can continue to do the major routes. And that's what we'll do. So we'll talk more about it as we get there in the through the winter, but here we are going to be at December 1st. Hey, did we guess right to move it from November 15th to December 1st on the street parking? We're not going to have snow till probably this weekend, till December 1st. And so we'll see little flurries, but I think we guessed right to let people do street parking.
100%. Dale Cummings says, you should do a history of St. Thomas series. I think Steve Peters would be a great source of information, plus many others with information. We've been talking about it.
Well, we've done, and I didn't want to step on the Beehive's toes because they've been having Steve come on and talk about the history of St. Thomas also. And so, we really want to talk about city issues as much as we can and answer your questions about things like the growth of EVs and other things in town.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to do that. Whereas, and we've had Steve on 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
And of course he tells us great stories, right? It is fantastic to do. But Steve's a little busy right now too. And as we get through the budget weeks, he'll be even busier. So
he's taken on a new position. I
don't know if he wants us to share that. So I won't at this moment, but
it is great.
But he's a busy man at council regardless. And so, wanted to thank Rose Gibson also for the sock hop that she put on.
Yes.
Right. Last Sunday. Apparently a great turnout and great fundraising for socks and coats and mitts and food stuff for the food bank too. So Rose, we know you're the busiest person in town, so thank you for doing what you do.
And then the folks who put on the fundraiser for hospice over at the Masonic Temple, the concert series that happened on Friday as well.
Right. And I didn't want to mention this because it's happening right now and it'll end at 7:00. But the young entrepreneurs are doing
Queso Station.
A Christmas market tonight, 5 to 7. And I thought that I didn't want to talk about it. It's just that I don't want you to get in your car and rush over there to find out it's over.
Yes.
So, but thank you to them too. And that was also another hospice fundraiser. Lots of fundraising going on at the hospice. And if you haven't driven by there lately to see how much of it is up,
incredible.
It's when you get to winter construction, you want to be at where you're working indoors. And I think they're fairly close to being exactly that, some enclosing. So
Bradley Clift is saying, can anyone apply to city boards or committees like Integris or community improvement plan committees?
Yes, we're always asking for volunteers for different committees. Through I know on the website there's a spot called committees and how you would apply. Some require different lengths of service. Some of them are for whole terms of council. Some are every year you have to redo it again. You mentioned a couple great ones, the community improvement plan. We have members of the public on it. The Committee of Adjustment is members of public on it. Library board, the art center board. There isn't a not-for-profit in town doesn't want volunteers. Doesn't have to be necessarily just city committees. But Bradley, thank you for bringing that up because yes, we do want you to put your name forward to help.
Yeah, and a great way to get a feel for a board too is to go and volunteer with them. You don't have to be on the board to volunteer, like you're saying. So like you can go out volunteer for like several weeks or months,
and then say, yeah, that's a piece that I'm interested in. I mean, and I know that some of us have talked on here about maybe one day you think you might want to run for council, but going on some of the boards and committees in town is a great way to, first of all, get your name recognized out there, but also help your community. So please do.
Beth Douglas is saying, is the new daycare on St. Catharines up to full staff, or is that still an issue? Am I assuming correctly that the city has a connection with them?
Yes, our social services helps organize the funding for them. And yes, I believe it is now fully up to staff. We're looking for other childcare opportunities in town,
Mhm.
and whether it's looking for a spot, that was an expensive building for us to build, and we know there are some other, whether there's schools or churches in town where a daycare center could be
Mhm.
Monday to Friday. We really are looking for others to. We're searching, and we want others to come to us about it too.
Mhm. Robert Furneaux says, thanks for the kind nods to our new community hospice of Elgin.
Yes, well, it's coming up and it's looking good, and we'll be so pleased when that is up and running, and we're no longer the only place in Ontario without a hospice.
Right?
And so we're really working hard. And I think, I noticed that name is one of the volunteers. So
Yes.
thank you for the
One of the
volunteers that are helping put
very
this
active
together.
volunteers.
Yes.
Councillor Gibson says, thanks for the mention of, and the big thanks to our community coming out to help support those in need. And that's for the sock hop that she helped
Agreed.
organize.
And then I saw Rose was also in the parade on Saturday night too. So
Rose is everywhere. I don't know how she has so much energy.
I keep saying we have to call her Rose because the term Energizer Bunny's already taken. She is just everywhere at everything, and we thank her for all the work that she's been involved in. She's certainly been involved at the Christmas tree spectacular, and so thank you, Rose. Love having you.
Absolutely. And Bradley Cliffs is saying, is there an optimal time to apply for any of those committees?
No, do it online. Get it. If your application is on file and there is a need for a committee member, and you said, well, I'll probably take anything, but I would rather this, we'll be the first to call you and say, hey, an opening just came up, say on the community improvement committee. Do you want that? And honestly, then it has to come to council, and we have to vote on it, and then you'll be told, yes, you made it. There's some other HR requirements after
like
you've
police
said
checks and stuff,
that type of thing. But yeah, by all means, get your name in. We'd love to have too many volunteers, because we'd probably find other things we needed to do, right? Or we could lend our volunteers to someone else who, right? You know how it is from a downtown development point of view. Grayden and I both serve on that, and we have a number of businesses who are really working hard, but they have businesses to run too, and we can't forget that. So any volunteer for any position, happy to have you here.
Absolutely. And on that note, we're at the end of our time here today.
Oh no, I'm out of time again.
Goes by fast.
I should get paid by the word.
Well, thanks again for the time you've donated every week here, and thanks to our viewers, our sponsors, and
this being open and direct with the people has been fantastic. I thought I'd have a question today about EVs. Somebody hit me with that earlier today, and boy, things are starting to grow out there. And I see that PowerCo announced one of their first suppliers today.
Oh, fantastic!
Right, and that's a big thing when they
huge.
We know that they're out there looking for people who are going to supply goods to their factories, and that lets us open up what else we can do in our community to attract even more industry. So perfect. I feel pretty comfortable, when we start naming suppliers that we're on a go.
Yep. Good trajectory.
Yep.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week.